Darrell Scott, good to see you. Welcome back to eTown.
Thank you, Nick. It's so good to it's been 5 years.
Yeah, well.
I can't believe that it's been 5 years since I was last year, but like you said, something happened there in the year 2020.
There was a little disruption that happened.
And but I'm so happy to be back here.
Yeah,
And,
well, it's cool to hear you sing and play. No one does it like you do. And it's so funny that I know that Paul Simon's American Tune has been something that's been a song you've embraced for a couple of decades.
Yeah.
And it seems so timely.
You know,
I mean, sadly, it's more and more timely.
Here's the thing about a great song. They're timeless.
Yeah.
So, and Paul Simon has written more than his share of great and timeless songs. Let's admit that. But this American Tune is just, it could have been in 1865, it could have been in 1945, it could have been the Vietnam War time, it could have been last week or 10 years from now. That's what a great song does.
I want to just mention you've written your share of great songs, and many of which have been recorded by lots and lots of people.
Yeah, I've been very lucky with that.
Yeah, I think it's luck, maybe. Maybe it's luck. Combination of luck and skill and hard work. But one of the funny side effects, I guess, of being a great songwriter is that, like your kids, you kind of write a song and you send it out in the world and it has a life of its own. You can't control who sings it, who records it.
Not at all, and I firmly believe that, I mean, we do what we do, you know, think of this for a second. Songwriting is largely an isolated thing.
Yeah.
So it's a person in a room, maybe two people, and you're doing whatever you do in that work, and then it has the possibilities to go out there into the world or in a show or at a writer's round or have famous people recorded in some of the cases for me. And it has a life of its own. It is not me pulling the strings. I did what I could do back in that isolated room, and then it has its own everything from that point forward.
Have any of your songs out in the world really disappointed you? Like they wound up in the hands with not the right people or don't sound good when you hear them on the radio?
You know, very few times, but it has happened, yeah. I had one person, I'm not going to name names, but I saw this person at a festival, and this person had done my song, and when he met me, he apologized. Like that was the first words out of his mouth. That I guess it was some production thing that messed it up for him, but he was not proud of his recording.
I did see that one of your most loved songs, "It's a Great Day to Be Alive," has been embraced by the Clemson University football team as their sort of anthem.
Yeah, I saw that too when they beat somebody. Was it Notre Dame last year? That's what it was, Notre Dame, I do believe. The coach was singing it in the locker room, and they were singing it back to him. So there's an example. That song, I mean, how could I have orchestrated that? I simply could not have.
No.
Right?
No, your song as an anthem in a football game. It's surprising.
That same song, "It's a Great Day to Be Alive," was on the space station. And it was broadcast from them listening to it and, you know, dancing in slow motion like they do, you know, in those space capsules. So it's been out of this world, too.
Wow. Very few people know this, but I once did an interview on eTown with the crew of the International Space Station.
Whoa.
In real time. And
in real time?
They had instruments. They had a keyboard and a guitar, and during the chat, the guitar pick came out of the strings and started just floating around in the video, which was...
That happened in my first solo.
Yeah. Well, I mean, since you were here last, I just have to say that you're somebody who, even though you've been doing this a long time, I imagine you first started playing music for an audience when you were a teenager.
It was even earlier, because I came from a family band. And so we grew up in church, so I was playing churches at 6 and 7. Prisons, they would have like a Sunday or Saturday actually thing that they would take down to the local prison, the church that we went to, and then we'd play in the prison.
Yeah.
Played at school, so it was actually gone back to probably age 6 and 7.
And you were playing guitar at that time? Where were you playing?
You know what? I was playing bass.
Bass, okay.
Yeah, bass was my first instrument. Because
it's good to choose the biggest one for the littlest kid.
Well, I'll tell you what, I had an older brother who was a great guitarist. And so the chair, the guitar chair in the family band was taken. He was really good. He was like a Chet Atkins, Jerry Reed type of player. And that meant I was the bass player.
Yeah.
But I loved having bass as my first instrument. I know the root and passing chords and all that. That kind of stuff was a really good foundation for me.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And you've been writing and recording and playing and touring ever since. And you and I have talked about this before, but the universe around us has changed to the point where the music business is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
But we still do what we do.
We do what we do, and I'm thinking back to the 5 years ago that I was last here. Since then, I've put out 3 records. So I put out Darrell Scott Sings the Blues of Hank Williams.
Right.
We're going to do a Hank song later in the set. I did a record called Horoso down in Horoso, Colorado, a live, no PA system, live recording, almost field recording. And then last year, recorded right here at eTown Studio, my band, the Darrell Scott String Band. It's basically bluegrass, I just didn't call it that. It's a string band. We recorded that down in your basement down here, and that record came out last summer.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, no, you've been incredibly productive, and despite the fact that records come out and some people notice.
Yeah. You know what? I heard Pat Metheny say this in the last 5 years or so, because he was referring to his first record that he put out that didn't get any attention back in the day. And he said this interesting thing, which was, maybe the audience you're making this for isn't even born yet.
Right.
And so he meant that, and it took 30 years for that first record.
That's cool.
Pat's to come
really cool.
forward, you know?
Somebody sent me a video from a show you played last night in Paonia, Colorado, and that part has not changed. Being in front of an audience, singing your own original songs and others in a way that only you can do is just great, Darrell.
Oh,
it's always
thank you,
great
Nick.
to hear you play and sing.
Thank you, my friend.
Let's do some more. Let's get back to music. Welcome back, if you would, Darrell Scott.